This is The Real Russellville with Tylerriley, and today I am with the media conglomerates, the creators of this incredible technology multimedia business here in Russellville. Got Tal with me, and Tal, for those people that, man, we have an opportunity to talk like every week because you do my media. And you also offer that service to the entire River Valley. Tal, tell us a little bit about your company and what you're doing in this industry.
Absolutely, Tyler. Well, thanks for having me on your show, man. Appreciate it. We're here in the Town Square studio, which we've been putting together over at the Co-Create Hub.
Yes.
Really excited for this place.
Oh, man. I think the entire city of Russellville is dying to see this place.
That's what I hear. People keep asking about it, and it's cool to see. In fact, that a year ago when I started working with people locally, right, I really wanted to work in a co-working space. Didn't really exist at the time, and it's crazy how it all worked out. Like a few months later, I heard what Chris and Tara had planned. I was like, this is going to be awesome.
This is. And so you jumped in fact, we kind of probably connected about the same time you were getting a foothold in some of the stuff. So we've had an opportunity to kind of see how you've grown, and it is exciting to see when somebody puts together a plan in action, because this is happening. This studio looks incredible.
Yep, it's happening. It's happening. So River Valley Town Square is the company, Town Square here. By the way, our little logo, can you tell that's like the Arkansas? Is that?
Yeah, I can tell. I can tell Arkansas. You got the Mississippi River there, and that's kind of a cool. It's like a computer monitor screen, and it's cut in with the lines that run the Mississippi River on that side of Arkansas.
Yep.
I like it.
Thank you. They did a good job on it. But yeah, so it started off a little bit over a year ago. Again, this idea of a co-working space. I talked to a few people locally about it. Haven't met Chris and Tara at this point, and I didn't know how we were going to get there. At the time, I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to be running a co-working space, just a means to an end. So I met Emily Young over at Brainstorm, Dog Ear Books, Retro Roast, and she let me use her podcast studio over there and started a podcast called, at the time, Level Up Russellville, just interviewing business owners. Really, I didn't have a real plan at the time, but I knew that action was needed, because you need to take action to build momentum, right? And show people that you can show up every week, show up every day, and just do something. And at some point, Tyler, the way we met is I went to YouTube and I typed in like Russellville, and then I saw you, and you were the only real estate agent that had invested really any considerable energy into making videos about the area. Yeah. And that's something they do in bigger markets like Northwest Arkansas and stuff like that.
Well, we know how important video is, but it is so much harder to make a video look good at the end of the day, you know? Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that I've always been really impressed with, the production that y'all have been able to do and give a really high-end finished result for not only me, but other businesses that are kind of trying to find a digital footprint, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been, I've been doing this for 13, 14 years. So I started making videos when I was 12 or 13 years old. I'm 26 now. I started making
those kind of videos in the kitchen where you're just doing it and you and your buddies late one night acting out. We used to act out SNL skits and record our own version of those.
You actually may remember, I've actually been, stuff like that, like home films I've been doing as a kid. You know, just Lord of the Cheese was the first one. It was a parody of Lord of the Rings. So it's been a lifelong journey of acquiring these skills. So when I showed up, I've always lived here, but when I started doing it locally, it wasn't like I just magically learned it in a day. And sometimes I forget that, you know, sometimes trying to teach people how to edit videos or shoot videos, it's like, there's a big learning curve, and you need a lot of that learning on the back end to know what to do and how to do it time efficiently. So.
Well, that's, you know, you talk about time efficiently. When you go back to those first videos that I would post on YouTube, for a 10-minute video, I may have had 3 hours of trying to edit that and look at it, and it was still bad at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So I didn't have 13 years to help that, but it still took me an incredible amount of time to try to just get something going.
It does. Editing the video is the hardest part. Take an hour to shoot a video. It's going to take you 5 times that to edit it.
You do such an incredible job promoting other businesses inside the River Valley, but what are some of the things that you like to promote? What's keeping you engaged in really trying to work a life where you have a career doing this?
Yeah. What keeps me engaged is just actually working with the people. That's why I transitioned my business from an online only. All of our clients, the whole team was online. We were doing Facebook ads, stuff like that. And then I just really missed that connection. And then COVID, all this stuff, like staying at home all the time. So getting to work with people in person and then also see an impact on their business, hearing back from them, whether it's we had them on a podcast or we recorded a video at their business or their Google page is doing a lot better now. Like that's what keeps us going, really. Because like any business, when you start it, you're not going to be making great money at first. It's always a long-term investment. So I know I could be making more money going somewhere else, but that's not going to give me the energy that keeps me going.
Yeah. Right? Building this incredible thing, because really, you talk about people that are kind of leading a charge. I think for the multimedia package that you do, I don't know anybody that's able to do it as good, better, or even offer the same level of services across the board.
Yeah. Around here, that's what I saw. There was a market, like there was this gap in the market, at least the specific way we go about things.
Yeah.
No one else was doing it. So, that's interesting.
So I know you've came to my wife's classroom and talked to multimedia stuff a whole bunch, Pottsville guy, Russellville guy your entire life. So I know this is roots for you. Growing up in that area, in where you are now with this business and getting to hear more insights from locals, have you learned any kind of like hidden gems about the River Valley area that you might not have known unless you did this?
Yeah. Well, there's a massive, I guess I always knew this, but there's a massive Hispanic population.
Yeah.
And it wasn't until getting involved with getting involved with OB, that I really got to talk to a lot of these people and meet them, become friends with them, and start learning Spanish. And what I've come to learn about our community is that it's so diverse in the amount of people that are here. There's so many people from Latin America, from New York, people from California, people from Texas. Like, I don't know the breakdown as far as percentages, but what our community is not just people that have lived here our whole lives. Yeah. It's really a big group of people. And I actually love that, because what I see with a lot of these people coming in is they are very convicted. They're very convicted to make a change in their own lives. They're coming here for a better life. So they're often like the business owners starting up new businesses, and they have all of this energy to build something better for their families. So that's something that if I hadn't been doing this, I wouldn't have had a chance to talk to a lot of those people.
Man, I can just kind of echo that and reinforce what I think you are 100% right. On the real estate side, we have people relocating here all the time, from California, but now Texas, getting a lot of people from Colorado, getting a lot of people from even Florida. And when these people are coming here, they're just incredibly impressed about the things that Russellville has for scenic landscapes, culture, community involvement. It just kind of seems like a perfect blend to build whatever it is, family life, a business, all those kind of things.
Yeah. The downtown has come a long way. Like, I don't remember really spending any time downtown growing up, and then I was looking on Google Maps not too long ago and just looking at like pictures from 2010. It just looked completely different. The buildings, like, there's been a certain level of effort and money and energy and time poured into the downtown area that has made it, actually interesting to go visit.
Yeah. And they'll get the roads fixed one day, and there won't be constructions through the whole dig project, but we'll love it when it's done.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So you are an adrenaline junkie. Okay. The world was so surprised to hear about some of the things that you've done, but I mean, y'all, it's like skydiving, rock climbing. Tal will jump out of an airplane. Tell us how that has changed your way of life.
Yeah. When I was, in 2017, I was 19 years old, and I went on a road trip with my dad to Utah and Arizona. And really until that point, I didn't have this love for the outdoors where I really discovered it's like, oh man, hiking is so fun. I can start doing these things. I had just started climbing indoors at the wall here in town.
Yeah, I remember when that was just right over there by Tech.
Yeah, it was a great place. Tech students got to go for free. And I had a lot of fun doing that, and started doing it outside. So I started rock climbing. And then after my first son was born, I started skydiving. So
sometimes it goes the opposite directions. Yeah. It's like I stopped skydiving after my son was born.
Yeah. No, after my son was born, I was like, you know what? I'm going to start skydiving. So risk. I do. I guess you can call me an adrenaline junkie, but what I am, regardless of if everyone agrees with this or not, what I know I am is a calculated risk taker.
Calculated risk taker.
Yes. So I'll explain this. I'll explain how I think about anything I do before I do it when it comes to stuff like that. I actually quit mountain biking because the risk was too high.
I would have thought mountain biking would have been safer than jumping out of a plane.
Not for me, because I had a few what's called over the bars incidents. Just got flung off the bike.
Yeah.
And with my skill level and where I was, what type of trails I was riding, I was like, you know what? I can seriously get hurt doing this.
That's right.
So, and the risk was higher than necessarily I wanted. So Alex Honnold, is a famous rock climber that free soloed El Capitan. It took him 4 hours. He climbed it without a rope.
When you say free solo, I think to myself, by himself, no ropes, no attached, like he's just. Is that right?
Yeah, they made a movie about it. I think it's called Free Solo.
Was it the movie where somebody had fallen off the rock, or did he do okay?
He did good. He's still alive, but he does these crazy things. And he, at one point years ago when I was climbing more, he talked about risk and consequence. So these two things, like the consequence of free soloing a climb is high. It's death if you fail. But the risk, it all comes down to what he's climbing. So if he's climbing something really easy for him, the risk is really low. Especially when you're climbing with a rope, now the consequence is a lot lower. Because if you fall, I fall on a ton rock climbing, the rope catches you, as long as you've done your job right and attached in and stuff like that. So the consequence for climbing is what I climb is fairly low, and a lot of times the risk is also fairly low. Skydiving, the consequence most of the time is pretty high, because if you had a major issue, you could die. But the risk is honestly, like statistically, it's you're more likely to get in a wreck on the way to go skydiving per capita, right? So everyone, when I say that, my family's like, yeah, but more people drive. So per capita, per 1,000 people that do each activity, it is a very safety oriented sport.
Yeah.
Like there's all these safety things we have to learn and stay up to date on. And, for a while I was thinking about, especially before I had kids, thinking about base jumping, which is the most deadly. If you become a base jumper, they say your average lifespan is 5 years. So I've decided, you know what, I'm not going to base jump.
Not going to pursue that.
At the very least, until my kids are adults, maybe when I'm 50, 60, maybe I'll change my mind. But it's not something I'm going to pursue,
Yeah.
Because you do die doing that. And I don't want to die, believe it or not. Like, I do not want to die.
I believe it 1,000%, because as analytical as you are, you're going to know the numbers that back up certain things. Yep. And so I believe it, man. I'd jump out of a plane with you, Tal. Yeah. So the thing that is really kind of interesting to know is those things are around Russellville, right? Yeah. So you could go to Clarksville and skydive. Lake Dardanelle has, on that Dardanelle side, they've got a couple rock crop formations.
Yep.
And there's one up there kind of north by Jasper that I know.
Horseshoe Canyon.
Yes, Horseshoe Canyon. Yep. People come all over to do these kind of things.
Yeah.
And
they just had a massive competition out there. They climbed for 24 hours straight. I've never competed, but I've gone a few years, and volunteered. Used to be a EMT.
Oh, I'm
But
sure they need you guys there.
yeah, yeah. Yeah, Arkansas, specifically Russellville, there's a lot to do around here outside, and then within a couple hours drive, you have basically everything.
Oh man.
So
So
it's good.
Tal, what do you feel is next for River Valley Town Square?
What's next? It's this studio we're sitting in. Getting more people in here in the community, whether they're starting up their own podcast. And when I say podcast, I'm really talking about what we're doing right now. There's video involved.
That's right.
Or making videos for their business, marketing, whatever project they're trying to work on. That's really the next step, is making sure this space is used as much as possible, even by the people that aren't making any money with their business. So like there's a few people coming in here that just have a podcast for fun, right?
Yeah.
So we're really trying our best to make different packages and make it accessible to everyone. Because the way that I see it, the way OB sees it, is this space is a space to serve the community, no matter who they are. Our one rule for this studio, there's only one rule right now, is, especially when it comes to our local community, it cannot be negative, right? Just for the sake of being negative. You know what I mean? Because it's easy to be negative sometimes.
And Tal, I support that 1,000% because I know you are a life-giving guy. So if it's going to be something that you're going to help create, you're going to want it to positively impact somebody else or be informative, either way, but I think I support that rule. Way to go, man. Tal, with starting up a business, and we haven't given him enough credit, but Obi's over there. Obviously somebody has to put all this together. You're a big part of it too. Your family is a big part of this. I mean, like the backdrop behind us, right? This was a family effort to kind of help put some of this stuff together.
Yeah.
How has your family supported you jumping into this new chapter of life?
Oh man, my wife has been the biggest supporter for sure. She hasn't ever questioned me and that, ever doubted what we're doing. Even when, like there's not, for example, when I started the business, when I first got into business three and a half years ago, I was making pretty good money over at A&O, right?
Yeah.
I was working over at A&O, and it was 4 days a week, 3 days off. Like, it was by all means a great job and great people over there. So thank y'all for that. But I just wasn't happy. Like, I knew that this is not what I wanted to be doing. So when I made that decision, she supported me, and she was also working and going to school at the time, and we had our first kid. So there was a lot going on, and, maybe she shouldn't have been so supportive because it was hard there for a while, but, she's been big through it for sure.
And you have to have that network, and you're somebody that people are going to believe in because you're going to have that hustle and that grind. You're an entrepreneur at the very spirit of your soul. You're going to do what you can do to make this happen, man. And that's incredible to kind of see a lot of this come to life.
Yeah. That's the biggest thing I've learned over the last 3-4 years. For the longest time, Tyler, in my life, I was somebody that did not do what I said. Like, I would tell myself, I'm going to start a business. And I can't tell you how many businesses I've started growing up, and they lasted like a week. Whenever things got hard, I just dropped it. So there was like a computer repair business at one point. So I spent all this time making a website, making a logo, just these, in my opinion, things you really shouldn't worry about at first, before I even had a customer. Like, that's what you should focus on at first, is figuring out who you can help. So then I realized, okay, that's not going anywhere. There's been other examples too, where, start something. Oh, I started a pressure washing company at one point. I bought that. And then I don't even think I ever had a paid job, Like, I went at it for a week, and then I was like, well, I don't have any customers, so this is over.
Do you know what's kind of funny with that? Yeah. It sounds like to me, with all these other businesses, from creating the logos, the digital footprint, creating the awareness of your business, that all along was preparing you for the business that you're in today.
Yeah, definitely. A lot of those lessons helps. And then, What's probably been the biggest was, again, when I was about 13, I started a YouTube channel with my buddies. Shout out to Luke Scott.
Oh,
It
Luke
was me and
Scott.
Luke Scott playing Minecraft, as
Yeah.
12 and 13-year-olds. And I kept that going for years, not just playing video games, but learning editing through that. And then just different, just it all really started from that. It's really interesting. I didn't really see it going this way. And once I started getting involved here in the local community, just meeting certain people, meeting Obi, meeting Emily Young, getting to do the podcast, it really just started to all click. It's like, okay, this is our niche. This is what we're gonna do. And it's not history yet, but we're still in the early days. I mean, it's only been a year and a half, so we're still in the early days. But I know that this is worth doing. Like, our community is worth investing in. For the longest time, Tyler, I thought I would move. I thought I would leave Russellville.
Yeah.
Not because I didn't like it here, but I went out west and I was like, oh, this is awesome. But then I realized that, okay, Russellville in Arkansas is actually pretty awesome too.
Yeah, that's right. We got a lot of those things that everybody goes everywhere else to see.
Yeah.
So I got to ask you, man, as we kind of start wrapping up, you are a man who always thinks of the future, of what's next. How do you see digital platforms and even business relationships, collaborations evolving in the next few years?
Ooh, so that's something I think about a lot. Like, where is this all headed? Because honestly, social media is changing so much, and there's a lot of censorship concerns, and there's AI now getting involved in all of this. And this isn't something we haven't made a video about yet, or even really, this is the first time I'll be speaking about this, but I think something really important for every business owner, this is something we're just starting to do ourselves, and we'll figure out how to help other people do it, is own your data. It's called zero-party data, and the way that you do that, one of the best ways to do that is with email and SMS.
Okay.
So, because you actually have full control over that data and how you reach out to people. Say I have an email list of 200 of my customers. At any point, I know I can email them and they'll get it, right? They'll get my message. But if I make a video on social media or make a post, there's only a certain amount of people that will see that. So I'm not saying don't use social media. It's still a great tool, and you can use that to grow your email list. But I see email as, it's already been big, but I see it as an even more important tool for local businesses. Also, just discoverability platforms like Google and Apple, making sure your business is on there. So many businesses around here are not on there, or they're inaccurate information. So we've actually just released a 7-day challenge by the time this comes out, where for free, business owners can sign up and we take them through a 7-day process. Every day we email you a video, setting up your Google page, making content. We take them through a whole process. And we also do that for businesses. Right now, $75 a month will get you listed on Google, Apple, and then also the other important websites for your industry. So if you're a handyman, that may look different than if you're a lawyer. Right? There's different websites out there that'll list you, and Google looks at that. It's very important. Did that answer your question, Tyler? Sorry, I got off on a...
I really like the way that you spoke to, I mean, email's not new. It's a different way to use it, in that way, keeping people awareness. Even if they're not opening your email, they're receiving a touch point from you and something that they're offering. And when they have a need, it's much easier to try to go back to your email and find where that may have been sent to you than it is to ever try to remember what hour of real screen scrolling you were in to try to find a video that you might have captured.
Yep. And video, you can still use video in email. Video by far is the most engaging, just statistically, form of content right now and for the foreseeable future. So obviously we've invested a lot into that with this studio. Social media is still a good platform to invest in, but start thinking about how you can build your audience, take your social media audience and start building it in a place where you know that you always have their emails, right? You'll always have that ability to hit them up, or even their phone numbers, call them. That can be invaluable for any type of business, local, big, small.
I love it, man.
So that's something we're always trying to stay up to date, because if we just decided, okay, this is all we're gonna do, we're not gonna learn, it'd be outdated in a year,
That's right.
and it wouldn't be effective anymore.
Oh man, Tal, thank you so much for coming on and being a part of this show. I don't know why I'm thanking you. It's your studio. It's all your stuff. Yep. But thank you again, man, for putting all of this together and bringing this business to the area.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on. Thank you for, and you said it's mine. It's ours. It's the Town Square Studio. So what do you think when you think Town Square? It's a community, right?
Everybody coming together.
Everybody comes together. So thank you for being a part of it.
Thanks, man. Thanks, everyone. Bye.